JIF 10418. So the topic that we will cover today is from chapter 1 from our textbook, that is crystal properties and growth of semiconductors. Okay, actually this presentation I've divided into 3 parts, basically about the naming of semiconductor, which is very important because from the name of the semiconductor it's possible for us to have some idea about the electrical and also optical properties of the devices. And next, if we have the time, we are going to cover about crystal growth, because the crystals that we are going to use to build the device are not the one that exists physically, but you have to grow it by yourself so that it can meet your device requirements. And if we have extra more time, then we will cover about crystal structure and defects, which theoretically is very difficult for us to have a very crystal without any defects. So at least you know that what kind of defects can happen in a semiconductor. And the thing is, not all defects are defective. Yeah? Sometimes we use defects to our advantage, example, to increase the conductivity of our devices. Okay, so let's start. Yeah? In the topic of classification of semiconductor. As I've said before, we are going to cover the naming of semiconductor, semiconductor growth techniques, and lastly, something about the physical characteristics, properties. So basically, classification of semiconductor, bulk single crystals, how to grow the bulk single crystal, which basically we are going to use as substrate or support, or sometimes people call it wafer. And also, how are we going to grow the thin film epitaxial for our devices? And basically, next about the physical properties, the crystal structure, and also crystal defects. But crystal structure, you have learned it in JIF 104 before, and also in material science, so I won't really cover about it. Yeah. Okay, Ifa and Ismarul. So basically, what can you say? Can you name any semiconductor? Anyone? Ifa, Ismarul? Name any semiconductor that you have known. Just write it in your chat line. Okay. Ismarul, are you there? And Ifa, are you really there? I didn't see. Okay. Since your computer is on, but oh, I'm here. Okay. Okay. Ifa, name any semiconductor that you know. Example of a semiconductor. Of course, there's silicon, isn't it? Apart from silicon? No answer. Ifa. I've put, okay, silicon. Apart from silicon, what do you know of any semiconductor? Have you got your textbook yet? All of you? Okay, have you received your textbook? Oh, okay. All right. So, offhand, what do you tak tahu? Okay, so it can be silicon, it can be gallium arsenide, and whatever that it's sometimes gallium arsenide, aluminium, and whatnot, where basically we use it for our LEDs. And also some others example, but the thing is, if you look at the name, you can have some idea now if you know how to classify it. Silicon, if you look here, there's only one element, but gallium arsenide, that's two elements here. But if you look at silicon, basically, if at the electronic properties of it, it is indirect semiconductor, and from there we know that what kind of material that we can use, what kind of devices that only can we use silicon. But for gallium arsenide, it's a direct semiconductor. So that's why when we look at the name, we can have basically know that it's not possible for it to have this kind of certain properties. And then if we would like to have it for the properties that we need, so there are other things that we need to add to it. So adding things into a semiconductor means you are introducing so-called defect into it, but this defect is kind of beneficial to us. Okay, now, how do we classify semiconductor? Basically, there are three ways of doing it. Yeah. One is based on the atomic composition, based on the atomic arrangement, how are the atoms being arranged, and lastly, according to the energy band structure. Where for the atomic composition, is based on the elements and also the purity. So elements means it can be a single element or multiple combination of element. Where as we know that like gallium arsenide, there is no such material that exists in nature. So the thing is, we have to grow them. Okay. So based on element and based on purity. Next, atomic arrangement. It can be a single crystal, polycrystal, or amorphous. And energy band structure, it can be direct and indirect. So from here, we know that whether we can use it as LEDs or not, or whether we can just use it as IR detector. So from here, we know that we can have some idea about the optical properties. Okay, let's go and have a look at the atomic composition. Okay, from the atomic composition, actually, we can know that there are two types for the subdivision, that two types basically, whether it's elemental, like I said just now, yeah, for silicon and germanium, and also for compound semiconductor. Basically, it can be 2, it can be 3, and it can be more than that. So, it's up to your requirement. So it can be binary, ternary, and quaternary. Binary means 2 by, ternary means 3, quaternary means 4. So you can have 4 elements in a compound semiconductor. And you can also vary the amount of zinc, the amount of selenide, and also like in gallium arsenide, you can vary the amount of gallium when you grow them, and you also vary the arsenide. So it's up to you when you would like to grow it. And shortly we will talk about how we are going to grow such kind of material. Okay, basically, as silicon carbide, we use it in IR detector. I mean, this is an example of it that happened, long time ago in the Gulf War. And zinc selenide, normally before we use it for our TV screen, but not anymore now, because most of it we use LEDs now. And gallium arsenide is for lasers and also for LEDs. So, and we can tweak, like gallium arsenide, we can put several other material into it so that we can get a certain colors of LED. So basically, when knowing that this is a compound semiconductor that you are going to add material to it, where by adding the material you can change the electrical and optical properties. So from a single crystal element, from a single elemental, we can combine it into compound, but because it doesn't exist in nature, so we have to grow it ourselves. And Alhamdulillah, to our own specifications. Okay, so just now is about the types of number of elements. Now we can also look at it in the form of purity. There are two types of purity, whether it's intrinsic and whether it's extrinsic. For the intrinsic means that all the electrons comes from the semiconductor itself. So it's pure, without any other addition and without any other elemental addition, and also without a defect. Technically, it's very difficult for us to have this pure semiconductor without any defect, like I have told you just now. And that's an extrinsic semiconductor, where the semiconductor has been doped. Means you have add another element. Let's say for this silicon. Basically, silicon, for the valence electron, there are 4. Valence electron. But the thing is, if we add boron, where the boron replace the silicon atom at the lattice side, if you look here, we put boron at the lattice side of silicon. Then, if we look here, boron is in the third group in the periodic table. So third group means group 3 means there is only 3 valence electron. So 3 valence electron, 1, 2, 3. And you see here, there's an anti-boron bond site here. Okay, so this anti-boron site acts as a hole, which is not technically a hole, but it's a charge carrier, where we name it as hole. Okay, it's not a physical hole, but it acts as a charge carrier. Unfortunately, the charge carrier is called holes. So, as you know, in a semiconductor, there are 2 types of charge carrier, which is basically what you have learned before, which is electron, and another charge carrier due to the empty bond sites. Empty bond sites will act as a charge carrier and unfortunately is being called hole. Okay. So the thing is, whenever you put an element that's going to replace the host atom at its lattice site, as in the case of boron, where if you look, and this silicon is from group 4, where there should be 4 valence electron, 4 valence electron, but now if you replace the silicon in the group 4 with boron in group 3, so you have one empty boron bond site, where this empty boron bond site will act as a charge carrier. So whenever there is an extra empty bond site, more than the host, when there are this empty bond site, if you have a lot of it, then your material will become p-type. Or when you have holes, a lot of these hole charge carriers, then your silicon now, instead of being intrinsic pure silicon, then you are going to have your p-type silicon. Because normally this is, if you have it substantial, about 10 to the power of 16, 17, 18, then you can increase the conductivity of your silicon. So this is basically like you are introducing a defect, into your material, but the thing is the defect is not defective, like I said to you just now, but it's beneficial as it increases the conductivity of your semiconductor material. Okay, do you understand what I'm telling you now? Ifa and also Ismarul. Oh, we have another person here with us today, or Ismail and also Khairi. Okay, welcome. So is there anything that you would like to ask about this introducing of defect that will increase the conductivity of your material? Okay. Now, so that one is p-type silicon, as I guess you have heard before, There is also another type, which is the N-type. So how are we going to have an N-type silicon? If p-type, you have extra empty bond sites, as I've told you just now, as the charge carriers called holes. If you would like to have an N-type silicon, you need to have extra electrons. So how are you going to get extra electrons for silicon? What kind of element should you introduce into your pure silicon in order to have extra electrons in it? Anyone? Ismail? How are you going to introduce extra electron into silicon? If you look here, in a p-type, yes, chemical bonding, yes, IFA, all right. So it has to do with the chemical bonding, okay. For silicon, we know that the valence electron is 4, isn't it? So in order to have extra electron, so what should you add? What element should you add into your silicon? If you look here, the trick is you look at the periodic table. So you see silicon is in group 4, isn't it? By introducing boron just now, because it's in group 3, only 3 valence electron, so you have these holes. Now, if you would like to have extra electrons, then what elements from which group are you going to add into your silicon in group 4? So we add group 5. That's right, Ismarul. So we can add, nitrogen definitely not. So normally we add phosphorus and also arsenic. Or sometimes we use antimony, but basically we use phosphorus. So, but the thing is, by adding group 5, Ismarul, we must put the element from group 5 at the lattice side of our silicon. We mustn't add it somewhere in the middle, not at the lattice side. If you don't put it at the lattice side, then it won't give the extra electrons. Okay? Basically for the first part, most of you are right. Yes, you add group 5 so that you can have extra electron. The possibility of having extra electron. But for you to have it as charge carriers, you have to put at the lattice side. Okay, so you have to put it at the lattice side. See? Let's say we choose arsenic. Yeah. So we put the added element from group 5 into the lattice side of our silicon. Okay? If you look here, then senang nak ingat, yeah? Because basically after this, I might say, okay, so the material is doped with phosphorus. The material is doped with indium. So basically, you should know that, well, by doping with phosphorus, you are going to get N-type. Okay, so just ingat senang kan, bagi pas saja. And you can ingat lah, ya, that this one is aluminium, and on this side is arsenic. Okay. Just remember this rate here. You use the acronym bagi pass. Then you know that the pass is N, the bagi is P type. And bagi pass. Okay. Okay. Right? Is there any question? Let's recap, yeah. We are able to introduce material to change the purity of the semiconductor. So either, let's say from silicon, we know that by adding 3, we are going to get the P-type. And by adding the group 5, we are going to have the N-type. But the thing is, all those additional elements must be at the lattice side for us to get the beneficial part of them being the charge carriers. Okay. So is there any question? Okay, no, then we move on. Okay, if you look here, yeah, name the type of the following semiconductor. So, silicon carbide, what is the type of it? So it's two, isn't it? So it's ternary compound semiconductor. Germanium is single. This is ternary. And P gallium arsenide. If you look now, there's the word P in front of it. So when the word P in front of it means it is apa? It's P type, isn't it? So there is extra element that has been added into it so that there is more charge carrier holes in your semiconductor. And then, okay, again, and yeah, what is the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductor? So, how are you going to answer it? Anyone? Okay, intrinsic is pure. Yeah. What about the extrinsic? You can on your mic, Ifa. Okay, extrinsic is doped. But the thing is, how are you going to dope your material? What do you need to do to dope your material? Apa dia tadi just now? There's two things that, the two issues that you need to take care of. First apa? First is the choice of your material, the material that you're going to add to your semiconductor, where that element, that elemental material should, if you like to have P, should have one less electron than your semiconductor material, yeah. Or if you like to have N, it must come from the group that has one extra electron than your group of semiconductor. That's one, yeah. Your choice of element that you're going to dope, yeah, whether plus one electron or minus one electron. And another one is that doped element must replace your host semiconductor atoms so that you are be able to use the extra electron or the unbound sites, which will act as charge carriers called holes, yeah, so that they can get involved in the electrical properties. The extra electrons or holes will only take part in electrical conduction when the doping element, yeah, the one that you add into your whole semiconductor, is packed at the lattice site. Okay. So that is about the classification based on element and also on purity, yeah, the atomic arrangement, the atomic composition. So next we are going to go about on the atomic arrangement. So actually there are three types of atomic arrangement. Basically, single crystal means one crystal, polycrystal, many crystals, and amorphous. So for these three, I mean, if single crystal, the periodic structure is, if you look here, yeah, it's repeatable from a single, and then it repeats many times, so it's periodic. Polycrystal, you see, macam batik, where each of these is separate crystals than the other. So there's a grain boundary around it, and then compared to this one is one single, yeah, because, and this one is the unit cells, yeah, but this one is each block is a single crystal by itself, yeah, where it's one next to each other. So like this is the this is one crystal, and this is, wait. Okay, so this is all one crystal. Okay. And this is another crystal. And this one is another. So that's why the name as so the name as poly. Okay, so there's many crystal in one large material. Where if you look here, the periodicity stops at the crystal grain. So you see it stops here at the grain. Okay. Okay, this is the crystal. So it stops, yeah? It stops here at the end. Okay. Actually, the grain boundary is a defect by itself. Kalau kita tengok kan, dia tak ada grain boundary kan. Ni all one crystal. Normally, for single crystal, the electrical conductivity is better. I mean, it's more efficient than polycrystal, because polycrystal dia ada grain boundary ni. So the grain boundary tend to sometimes aggregate the electron, I mean, hinders the electron movement. So the conductivity, the efficiency of single crystal is much higher than the polycrystal, because of the polycrystal have defect, which is the grain boundary, which tend to accumulate the charge carriers. Okay, and next is the amorphous. Amorphous, dia tengok kan? Dia is without, no periodic structure, you see? Dia sukati dia ada whatever the formation of the atoms. Arrangement of the atoms is short range order. So it's not necessarily going to be repeated the same all the time. Tengok, yang ini dah lain dah. See? Yang ini dah lain dah, you see? So it's no periodic structure. So you tengok ni. Ni lain, bentuk lain, see? And this one is different. This one is different, but this one, they are still benda yang sama, but it's just that there ada grain boundary. See? Alright, it's just that everything stops at the grain boundary and buat a new crystal. But this one is different. Macam ni macam lain. different. But this one dah bentuk macam lain. Okay. This one dia dah bentuk macam lain. It's different. Okay, so it's short range order. Because, but if we look at this one, you go, it looks like this. Then if you look like this, then batik-batik ni is polycrystal. Kalau macam ini lah, the efficiency is much lower. Macam kita punya handphone lah, dia iklan, isn't it? Apa AMOLED, AMOLED dia kata, wah, new technology. Actually, AMOLED is what? Amorphous LED. Amorphous LED, the efficiency is lower than a single crystal LED. Jadi kalau tengok AMOLED, alamak, the efficiency is low. Kiranya bila ada iklan tu, be careful with iklan dia. Kalau kita from physics student ni ataupun bila dia tengok, no, it's very inefficient. Kalau kita pegang kan, dia boleh panas. Panas because some of the energy has been turned into heat instead of you being used it as untuk display whatever your handphone would like to show. Kiranya AMOLED tu, there's nothing grand about it. Now you know, kan? Amorphous. Amorphous means it's very highly inefficient compared to single crystal. Tapi one thing about amorphous, dia daripada segi ketahanan panas, is better than single crystal. Especially kalau dalam cuaca kita, amorphous is better. In terms of dia punya ketahanan lah, compared to single crystal. Itu saja. Okay. So kiranya, by knowing what type of atomic arrangement ini, we can have some idea. Kalau amorphous LED tu, it's not efficient. Macam tu. Kalau amorphous, kalau kita dalam keadaan cuaca kita kat Malaysia ni, surprisingly, amorphous material boleh tahan lebih lama lagi daripada single crystal. Macam tu lah. Okay. Is there any question about atomic arrangement? Okay, kalau tak ada, kita move on. Name 3 type of semiconductor atomic arrangement. Apa dia? Okay, anyone? Ada 3, isn't it? Crystal, polycrystal, and amorphous. Okay. Okay, state their structural differences. Tadi kan, it's about order, isn't it? Whether short range order, long range order, or no order at all. Kan? And also periodic ka ataupun periodicity stops at the grain boundary ataupun no periodic structure. So you can have cakap them in terms of periodicity, or you can also talk about long range about order, long range order and order stops at grain boundary, or dia short range order. So dia ada 2 lah cara for you to state their structural differences. Alright. So lastly is something about the band structure. So you can have a direct semiconductor and also indirect semiconductor. Tapi direct semiconductor, it will produce visible light. Sebabnya, whenever the electron from the conduction band, bila dia nak turun tu, dia turun ke valence band, where basically the amount of energy that is being given out is in the visible region. So that's why we can have visible light. Bila dia turun, bila dia turun, jump back into the valence band, the energy that is being given out, kita kena pilih lah which material, Biasanya kalau gallium arsenide tu, kita akan dapat lah around dekat ujung warna-warna merah macam tu. So because the energy dia, mu dia is about the color of red. Macam red ni kan. Okay. So yang tu yang kita boleh dapat visible light. Kalau in the case of indirect, ni kan. Ni visible spectrum. Jadi kalaulah kita punya light, energi yang keluar ni, dekat kawasan visible spectrum ni, dan lebih kurang wavelength 400 to 700 nanometer, then we can have visible light. Selalunya kita akan pilih lah, kalau kita nak buat LED ni, kita akan pilih the semiconductor that whenever the electron jump from the conduction band to the valence band, the energy that's being released correspond to light yang dekat visible region. So the thing is we have to do research lah kan. But now dia dah ada blue LED, blue LED. Blue LED ni means elektron dalam material dia tu, bila dia jump daripada conduction band to the valence band, the energy that's being released gives this blue light. Jadi lebih kurang 400 nanometer punya wavelength light yang akan give out. That is going to be emitted. Itu yang kita dapat blue light, blue LED tu. Okay. In indirect semiconductor, kan macam ni kan. Kalau kita nak red ni, merah, dia punya gap ni kecil. Supaya we get red light. Red light is around katalah 700 nanometer. Jadi, H mu is equals to HC over lambda, sir. Jadi, kan, E gap dia, energy gap dia kat sini, dia ada gap, is equals to H nu is equals to C over lambda. Okay. So, lambda dia, kalau kita nak merah, so is about 700. So 700, kita tahu bahawa E red ni is red punya, the gap must be small lah. Sebab E gap untuk red is less than E gap untuk red light is less than E gap untuk blue. Untuk blue. Okay. Okay, less untuk blue. Jadi kalau untuk blue, the gap mestilah besar. Ataupun yellow light kan, kat sini kalau yellow light. So, dia mesti besar lah. Because, bila dia kena besar, so, dia punya lambda dia kena kecil lah kalau ni. Jadi dia kena kecil daripada red lah because dia nak nilai E gap dia besar because it's inversely proportional. So that's why kalau nak merah, red, the E gap must be small. Kalau nak kuning kah, nak biru kah, the E gap must be large lah. Ini. Because all this one, ya, kalau kita nak visible, dia must dekat sini. Kena apa tenaga yang dia keluarkan tu must correspond to this visible spectrum punya wavelength lah. Okay, ataupun dia punya frekuensi. Tengok Kalau untuk indirect, okay, kalau untuk indirect, tengok ni, perbezaan dia. Tengok perbezaan dia. Okay. Instead of the bottom of the conduction band edge ni, dengan the top of the valence band edge ni, kita tengok dia terlari sikit. Kan? Instead of one on top of the other, dia more towards, it's not straight, but it's position at a different position, ya, jauh sikit kiri ataupun kanan. So kiranya when electron nak jump down to the valence band, it needs to go this way and then that way. So when it goes this way, part of its energy dah hilang. Ya, due to the lattice scattering. And then sekiranya sedikit saja yang turun ke bawah. Oh, wait. So, kiranya, because of some of it has lost in the lattice scattering, what the yang keluar, yeah, the energy that being emitted is only heat saja. Yeah, it's not enough to produce visible light. Remember just now, Ustaz? Okay. Kalau kasan infrared ni, because kita tahu infrared, it gives heat, isn't it? Jadi kalau ni, jadi dia tak cukup untuk bagi visible light. Okay. Kan kita tahu about visible light is this region which is more energy than being needed than the infrared. Jadi infrared ni dia cuma bagi heat, dia tak boleh nak bagi the visible light. Because visible light, the energy is much higher than the infrared. Sebab sebahagian daripadanya kalau kita tengok dah hilang during lattice scattering untuk dia pergi kat sini untuk turun ke bawah, ya, untuk jump to the valence band. So the energy compared to this one is much besar, isn't it? Higher, wider. But this one dia dah tinggal sikit dah. Kalau tengok kan, dia dah tinggal sikit dah. Dia tinggal sikit ni dia cuma heat sajalah. But the energy that's been given up is not enough, yeah, for it to produce visible light. Okay. It's 49. So kalau kita tengok kat sini, ya, that we can classify our semiconductor, ya, kepada 3 types, ya, like kita ni recall back because masa dah nak cukup. Yeah, what can we say? Yeah, about this semiconductor classification. Yeah. Tadi kita dah bercakap bahawa it's possible for us to classify our semiconductor tu bergantung kepada 3 group. Yeah. First is whether according to the atomic composition, then atomic arrangement, then lastly is dia punya energy band structure. So from there, yeah, at least we have some ideas, yeah, what type of material it is, whether we can use it for LED car, kita nak guna it as IR detector ke, ataupun kita nak buat motion sensor ke. Kan sekarang kita, we can also go into a room and then dia ada detector, then where it can detect our heat and then it can on the lights and also that kind of material. Yeah. So we can use these properties that we know, yeah, to benefit, to our benefit, but to our beneficial use. Macam tu lah. Okay, since we don't have enough time, yeah, I will upload the semiconductor growth technique at the portal so you can have a look at it, and also for the physical properties. So there will be 2 other parts here where you can have a look at it and study by yourself, and there will be questions in it where you can just answer it so that to make sure that you really understand what is being shown there. Okay, is there any questions? Because the next one, we are going to talk about charge carriers. So our Webex 2 is about charge carriers. Okay, anyone? Any questions before we end our Webex today? No questions? Okay, thank you everyone. So hope to see you in our next Webex conference. Thank you then. Bye.